All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Perlis, and today I'm doing a demonstration of my application, Low Tide Low Life. Low Tide Low Life is a simple application that lets you tell a little fish story, find some info about the fish you caught, and share a recipe. When I built this application, I built it using a Ruby on Rails backend and a React.js frontend. I used also an external API, which is located in my backend inside of my seeds.rb folder. And inside of there, what I did is I used that to call to the NOAA Fisheries API. And from there, I'm able to return back individual objects of fish with a ton of JSON data that's nested inside of each object. So let's start off by going to our all fish section right here. And as you can see, there are individual cards where you can see the fish's name, the scientific name of the fish, an image of the fish, physical descriptions, biology, and population. So you'd be able to use this, say, if you wanted to get more information about a fish that you caught, or maybe just something, where you're just looking for the information about this fish. On this page, I did set up a search bar with full functionality. So if you type in a name, what it does is it goes over each object and starts to filter out the objects based upon whatever it is you're typing. So for example, say if we wanted to find out information about tuna, once you start typing tuna, it automatically dynamically renders on the screen and cuts it down to just the words with the word of tuna that's listed into the actual name of the fish. So if you were to go back up there and if you were to just remove it, you would see that it just renders all back to all the fish objects again. But one of the main functionalities of this application is being able to create a recipe and also to view recipes. So if we go to the all recipes page here, you can see some other recipes that I've made up in advance here. So this is just a summer flounder that was caught. It's a recipe name of baked flounder where you can see the actual recipe and tells you to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. When the oven is at temperature, lay flounder flat on a baking sheet, add knob of butter to each slice and season as desired. Cook for 15 minutes at 400 degrees and let sit for 10 minutes. You can see where there's also a section here for a fish story where it says we limited out on summer flounder in the Delaware Bay. And also from the API, I'm able to bring in nutritional facts of the fish where it's all based upon one serving size of 100 grams of raw fish. And it'll tell you all the information about it. So let's go ahead and actually create a new recipe. So just we'll start by making we'll just use the Atlantic chub mackerel because it's the first one on the list right here. And we'll just call this grilled mackerel. And we can say that we caught this fishing out at the Cape May Reef. And just for sake of speed here, we'll just type in, for the recipe here, we'll just type in test recipe information. So you don't have to sit here and watch me type out a whole entire recipe from scratch. And then we'll just create a recipe. And then now once we go to our all recipes page again, we can see that the recipe that we just made right here with the Atlantic chub mackerel, we see the picture of the fish, the recipe's name, recipe test information, and the fish story. And then also when we do that, it pulls the information from the fish ID and we're able to pull out the nutritional facts of that exact fish and have it render on the screen as well. As soon as the recipe is created, we don't have to type anything in. This is provided from the API data on the back end. But if we wanted to, we could also update our recipe. So once we click on the update recipe button, you'll see that it says test recipe information from what we typed in, which you can see right up here under the recipe category. And you can notice that as I type or delete, it renders dynamically on the page right underneath the recipe section. So that shows that React.js is doing exactly what I wanted to do by displaying that information and having it change in real time without having to load the page. And then once we click update recipe, it sends over the patch request over to the backend and updates the information and saves it, and it renders it all dynamically on the page without having to reload. It's the same functionality as well for the update on the fish story. And we also have the ability to delete a recipe and add a recipe to favorites. So we do have a favorites category here. So we'll go ahead and show you the favorites. Once you're in your favorites category, you can see recipes that a user has saved and put them in their own favorites categories. so that you could trim down a little bit on the fat of the other recipes that are on the page and just see recipes that you know you like. So let's go ahead and go back to our all recipes page, and we'll scroll down to our recipe that we just made here, and we'll click add the recipe to favorites. And then once we go back to our favorites page, you will see that now that is added also to the favorites model and rendering on the page immediately. And you can also delete a favorite right away and it just removes it from your favorite page. But as you can see, it doesn't delete the initial recipe because the original recipe is still saved on the database. It's just deleting it only from your favorite section, which is a great feature. And obviously you can also delete a recipe right from the main server and it deletes all aspects of that recipe across it. One of the things I did also add on this page here is you could type in a recipe name to search it. So we know we had baked flounder, but we'll show something a little bit farther down. So we see we have a grilled mako steaks recipe here. So let's go ahead and we'll type in grilled mako. And as you can see, automatically it finds that recipe and removes all the other recipes on the page. So you can only see the one that you're trying to find or all the recipes that are going to be associated with whatever it is you typed into it. And that is my application. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via my email for my resume information, or also if you want to see any of the code that I used for this program here, you are absolutely welcome to go ahead and look at my GitHub information, which will be in the description of the video, as well as on the on my resume as well. All the information on the GitHub is there as well. So thank you very much and have a great day.